We have the mayors of the great cities of Arlington and Fort Worth right here. We got our beautiful friend, Mattie Parker, and our even more beautiful friend, Jim Ross. Give it up for them right quick. And so from what I'm reading about you good folks, you're presiding over a giant boom in the growth of these cities, but also the growth of the economy of these cities. And I kind of wanted any of you guys to jump in and tell me, as you're looking at this, what are the kind of steps that you're taking to make sure that we don't run roughshod over the environment and that we keep your cities green?
Sure.
You want to start off?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes. Jim and I work together often as the mayors of Fort Worth and Arlington. These shouldn't surprise you, but it's really about sound policies around quality of life for your residents. You know, it's public safety, infrastructure, parks, streets, libraries, all those things. But you do have to think in a different way when you're a fast-growing city like the city of Fort Worth.
Right.
As I was sharing with the panel audience before, we're now the 4th largest city in Texas. We just passed the city of Austin in population. Wow. And we're also a city that's still rapidly growing across 350 square miles, only half developed.
Goodness.
So a tremendous amount of communication. It's not uncommon that the cities of Arlington and Fort Worth would know what major infrastructure projects are online. The same thing goes with Tarrant County. And then lastly, it's just really focused on being able to work together.
Absolutely.
You know, you see so much partisan noise across the country, but that really doesn't move the needle on any big project in Fort Worth or Arlington. Okay. And I think we're very fortunate in that way, and it keeps us moving the right direction.
Thank you very much for that. Mayor Jim, you've got a lot going on in your city. I hear that it's quite the sports town. Tell me more about some of the challenges that you're facing with this rapid expansion that you're experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We're a big sports town, but there's actually a lot more to Arlington than sports. Arlington is the most diverse community in all of Texas.
Wow.
We're the 4th most diverse city in the entire United States.
Wow.
We're very, very proud of our diversity. We look at that rich diversity as a source of strength, a source of energy, a source of attractiveness for getting really good businesses here. I think what new business is looking for and what old business who's recreating themselves is looking for is that sustainability that makes people feel good about themselves. And that includes being good with the environment. That includes, you know, doing the right things for the community and being engaged in the community. And I think that Fort Worth and Arlington share sort of common goals on how we're matching and pairing with the people that are coming in and doing business in our community. We want more than just a business that's going to come in and build trinkets. We want someone who's going to come in, engage with the community, and make our environment even better than what it is now. So that's something that we try to do on a regular basis, both Fort Worth and Arlington.
Absolutely. So Mayor Mattie, can you tell me what's the fastest growing industry in your city right now?
Yeah. Honestly, Fort Worth has continued to be one of the top places for advanced manufacturing in a multitude of areas. Aviation continues to be successful in Fort Worth. We're obviously home to Lockheed. Bell's new project will be manufactured in the city of Fort Worth. Home to American Airlines as well. Biotech continues to be something we lean into.
Nice.
Hospitality, robust healthcare options in the city of Fort Worth and our near South Side hospital district. But then you're also thinking about what's the modality of the future, what's the workforce of the future, and we have a tremendous amount of focus on transportation mobility infrastructure.
Nice.
And where transportation is headed. That's in large part thanks to Hillwood and the Mobility Innovation Zone that's there in North Fort Worth. So
that's wonderful. So what's the political will like, Jim, when it comes to these new businesses that you're attracting, getting themselves in line with certain regulations when it comes to their carbon footprint? Are you seeing resistance? Is that something that they want to invest in? How's the general business culture around the climate?
Yeah, I'll be candid. Dealing with business is a hell of a lot easier than dealing with government.
Okay.
It just is. Whether you're talking about our state or our federal governments, what I'm finding is the vast majority of those businesses coming into town, they're wanting to do good things. They're wanting to partner up with the right people for the right reasons. What we see more than anything is the politicalization of environmental issues and other things on a national and state level that complicates things, that prohibits that type of partnership from going forward. And I struggle with that, to be candid with you. I think government needs to stay the hell out of the way and let business do business.
Absolutely. What would you say is government's role then in a productive business, making sure that perhaps its footprint doesn't overstep the boundaries that would be good for public consumption, whether it is polluting rivers or air? What do you see as government's role?
Well, for the city of Fort Worth, it may seem overly simple, but I strongly believe the types of companies you want to recruit to grow in Fort Worth or expand their businesses, relocate, they all are going to be environmental stewards. If they're not, then why would you want them in your city long term anyway?
Gotcha.
And I think I have found, at least especially with larger scale projects that do have an environmental footprint, you'd be amazed, to Jim's point, about how innovative these companies are. They're really leaning into, because at the end of the day, they're going to live in your communities. Their children are going to go to school there. So from the city's regulatory perspective, development standards continue to be a top concern. Are we really enhancing our environment and park space and open space through the right kind of conservation easements or development standards? Is our tree canopy regulation strong enough? These are all things at a local level that have really been beneficial to us. We're in a non-attainment area in North Texas, continue to be thinking about air quality standards, and our companies are a big piece of that. And candidly, it has at times been a hindrance to be able to relocate certain types of companies to North Texas because of that non-attainment standard. So all of us are incentivized from both an environmental and an economic perspective to start to change those scenarios in a way that really makes our air quality better in North Texas. But again, you can only control what you can't control.
Right,
and you mentioned a few buzzwords. We were joking earlier in our panel. I have found the most success. I don't have to call you, I don't have to talk about climate change or sustainability to realize that we're all environmentalists. You want clean air and clean water. Usually the answer is yes. And so let's meet on the things that we can all agree upon.
I appreciate that. Jim, what do you find are like the most challenging narratives that you're encountering when it comes to doing the right thing for the environment in your city?
Man, he just opened that door, didn't he?
I had to, man. This is EarthX.
Listen, I am one of the most nonpartisan people I know. I won't call myself a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an independent because I don't like party politics. And party politics plays too big of a role in messing with everything from business deals to environmental issues.
Gotcha.
To inclusivity issues, to you name it. Party politics is too overwhelming.
Gotcha.
I believe that the vast majority of us live within arm's reach of each other.
Right.
We live between the 20-yard lines, and we may vary on our opinions from time to time, but the problem is we let people who are playing between the goal line and the 20-yard line, sports city, I got to use those analogies.
listen.
We let people that are playing on those extremes run things.
Gotcha.
And when you let those people who are playing in the extremes run things one way or the other, you have a hard time making anything happen. So, that's where my problems lie, is people want to politicize everything that people are doing nowadays. Listen, I can tell you the vast majority of the mayors, Mattie and I work with mayors all over the country. The vast majority of the mayors really don't care about party politics.
Right.
What they care about is bringing good business to their towns and cities, that people are getting taken care of, that the potholes are being filled, that our police and fire are keeping people safe, and that we're taking care of our city employees. That's what we care about.
Right.
And if I could change anything with it, I'd keep big government out of the way.
Got you. Mayor Mattie, have you encountered some of these same problems with warring narratives on what to do with the climate of your city?
I don't think it's necessarily specific to climate concerns. I think it's really has permeated any issue in the country right now, especially at a local level. As Jim alluded to, people really do, usually the loudest voices are the ones that want to push you to far right or far left.
Right.
But candidly, as we often joke in city government, no one, if you're a Republican or Democrat, you really don't care about your street light or pothole, right? You just want it fixed. And I try to lean into that. We joke about it a lot in local leadership, but it also is incredibly liberating because you're able to work across the aisle and leave a lot of that partisanship aside. I think one thing that is unique for both Jim and I in fast-growing cities in a region that's growing so quickly, though, is our responsibilities are so immense because you understand the pressures that growth creates for a large city, and you want to make really great policy decisions that you may never really see the result of while we're leading our cities, but you certainly will know it 10 years from now if we didn't have our eye on the ball. Yeah. And so I don't have a lot of energy or time, quite frankly, to focus on the partisan issues because they don't really move the needle. And I need to be focused on the basics to run a great city, and that's what we do in both Arlington and Fort Worth. And as a result, I think people love living where we are. And in Fort Worth, we're seeing a tremendous amount of growth because people are voting with their feet to be in a city like Fort Worth.
Let me tell you something. As a visitor from out of state, I live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm watching what's happening in Texas. I've been coming back and forth here for the last 3 years. I love the direction that it's going. As somebody who's from a city who's like a model example of how to be climate friendly, Denver's got all of that. And I'm really impressed by what I'm seeing in this part of Texas. And I want either of you that's going to turn to bragging rights now. Tell me something that you're proud of when it comes to a climate-based project in your city. I want to start with you, Mayor Jim.
Everybody's familiar with Total, gas industry. They do a lot of drilling throughout the Barnett Shale here in Tarrant County in particular. We have a new satellite manufacturing group coming into Arlington, building a 750,000 square foot manufacturing facility at our airport.
Nice.
I've been able to partner up them with Total's solar panel division, where Total is starting to transition into more green energy with the solar panels. And they are now speaking about how they can help power the new manufacturing plant with the solar panels on this plant rather than your traditional power.
Give it up for that.
Yeah, that's very cool. So I'll give you a policy example rather than focus on businesses, because to Jim's point, businesses, if you listen, they really are ready to be innovative, and where can cities kind of get out of the way at times. But for us, it's our good-natured initiative. I've talked a lot about growth. We're a city that's over 350 square miles. We're only half developed. And I took a real focus on this 3 years ago, really wondering, are we growing so rapidly we're going to ruin our green space and open space across the city? And the answer, quite frankly, was yes. You know, if you lose 50 acres per week in the city of Fort Worth, which we do to development, we had to have a better focus on protection, and it needed to have a private sector component, not just inside the building of City Hall. And we're on our way to our first goal is to preserve or acquire at least 10,000 acres across the city of Fort Worth. And we've now done so over 1,000. It's in policy making, conservation easements, tools inside the city of Fort Worth, really incentivizing large land developers, landowners. But it's also working with philanthropy and the private sector to think differently. We've been very fortunate in Fort Worth to have some of our largest landowners were actually from Fort Worth. Multiple generations really cared about being great land stewards. They really were the original environmentalists as cattle ranchers on the western frontier. And so, but we can't just assume and rest on our laurels. That will always be the case in the city as rapid growth continues to happen in our community. And as we all understand, you want to leave a place better than you found it. You want to make sure it's beautiful for the next generation. And those pressures of development, you can manage those well, but at the same time really invest in green space and open space. And I think we're on the right trajectory so far.
It sounds like they are. Give a round of applause for that one. That's amazing. So we'll run out of time here. I want to wrap up with each of you telling me a beautiful nature-based attraction in your city and kind of what you see the future of that being. Yeah. Start with you, Mayor Jim.
Wow, so everybody knows we're known for our entertainment district.
Right.
We have multiple stadiums within walking distance of each other. What people don't know is those stadiums are all interconnected with a beautiful linear park that runs around the Mark Hogue Lakes there in between the Medal of Honor Museum, Choctaw Stadium, and others on there. And what an incredible attraction, jogging trails, nature trails, everything through the heart of the entertainment district. And as people get out and they start walking through the entertainment district, they're able to discover this beautiful linear park that is connecting everything in the entertainment area.
It is beautiful, yeah.
Goodness gracious. How about you,
yeah.
Mattie?
So Fort Worth is really rich in beautiful natural amenities, from the Fort Worth Nature Center to the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens. One of the #1 zoos in America is the Fort Worth Zoo. But I think I'd have to mention the Trinity Trails along the Trinity River. Over 170 miles of beautiful trail space across our community. That, by the way, now you can almost get to the city of Arlington and connect to the city of Dallas through a trail system to connect North Texas. But it truly is the greatest equalizer across our community, really refocus on how all neighborhoods can have access to the Trinity River. And it continues to be an asset and an amenity that you're starting to see developers turn towards rather than away from. And it's creating a connectivity and a sense of space that I think did not exist 10, 15 years ago that I think we're all very proud of in Fort Worth.
My goodness. I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling a lot of hope for, especially, it like makes me want to visit more. So I'll be back to Texas a lot more. Give it
Just
up for,
don't come in August, Theo.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. You know, I did 10 years ago to Austin. Never again.
Although Denver gets pretty warm in the summer for
Denver
Colorado
does, but
City,
we don't have this humidity, y'all.
Okay, yeah, that's
this is
very
different.
True. Yeah.
But listen, Texas in so many ways is out there once again on the frontier of this very, very important space. And I just want you guys to give it up for Mayor Jim and Mayor Mattie one more time.
Thank you all.
Arlington and Fort Worth, making things happen. Thank you guys so much for being here.